Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thanks so very much for joining me on my channel. I really appreciate it. I'm just this 36-year-old dude, right, who kind of looks like Wolverine if he were a senior citizen and you weren't sure if he was 60 or 30, kind of a thing going on, you know what I mean? Shaved off half my eyebrow. Did some work this week, got a couple of phone numbers from some women. It was an interesting week, and yet, out of all those numbers, I am, in fact, alone here in my room on a Friday night. Part of me would have it no other way. The other half of me is desperately pleading for some human being company. Okay, so let's talk about Abraham Lincoln, all right? You guys may not like where this video is going, so if you're sensitive to topics that are truthful, or you just don't want to hear about how one of our most often cherished presidents in history was, in fact, arguably the worst president in American history. And let me tell you why, okay? So, we all get taught the sanitized sort of rendition of American history, right? In that grades K through 12 involve really nothing more than sort of some good old boy Uncle Sam indoctrination. America is to blame for nothing. Everybody else has their problems. Indigenous people were just absolute savages. We, in fact, helped them. Manifest destiny, great. Go America. All of that was super inaccurate. All of that was super filled with like some straight up lies and some really, really, really dark parts of history that we are in fact not taught in that good old boy American Uncle Sam indoctrination system. And so, who wouldn't be upset, right? It's sort of like people talk about, rewriting textbooks and history books and all this stuff. It's sort of like, well, yeah, if they didn't, people would be pretty upset. I mean, if people knew the truth, holy potatoes, let's get all X-Files on them, the truth is out there. It definitely is. Will you ever know it? Definitely not. So, yeah, I think that, I can't believe I just forgot what I was talking about. And oh yeah, Abe Lincoln. See, the guy is so trivial and irrelevant to me that like I wrote him off just the moment I figured out how bad of a person he was. Okay, so Abe Lincoln, never was elected as a president on the platform for freeing slaves, right? In fact, he's quoted in saying that he just wants to he wants to keep the states united. He'll do that whether or not slavery is legal or half illegal or illegal. It didn't really matter to him. He just wanted to keep the states together. That's pretty messed up, dude. Seriously, like, talk about making deals with the devil. It's sort of like, bro, like, really, really. I thought that was really weird. That whole year of the Emancipation Proclamation, and it's just Abe Lincoln wasn't the dude that we all think that he was, and he should not be celebrated as such. We should not continue to celebrate all these old white guys who literally were responsible. They were merchants of death. This is what they were. As good of a dude we all think George Washington was, right? I mean, he still owned slaves. And, I mean, as progressive as the old white guy could have been at that particular time, this country was founded and is rooted in systemic and institutional racist practices, all of which have come to impoverish and marginalize the people that aren't white in this country. That's a problem. This country this isn't a white nation. I'm sorry to all of you you pro-fascist guys out there, this is not a white Christian nation. I am so sorry. Are YouTube gonna ban me for saying that? In terms of like the truth, like in that, like, again, I'll say it once more, that like white people that like make laws that unalive marginalized groups of people are straight up evil. Like and the fact that our government sort of was birthed from a few of these good old boys, kind of leads into why there is such a problem in the modern day with racist practices. And the fact that one might even argue that while slavery is not practiced here in America on the kind of scale that we think it definitely is in some instances. We just talked about immigration here, just last video, and that's a big pull of where human beings are still kept as slaves. And in the modern era, it's black, brown, and poor white people, right? The only segment of the population that appears to be, free and empowered is white people, and moreover, white men who, I don't understand. You guys should Google and watch this YouTube documentary about 8chan and about how free speech is always just, trampled on by the most privileged incel, single white guys out there who always go for the Nazi shtick, right? It's so classic. It's so sort of yeah, every old hateful white guy out there is pro-Nazi. That's weird. Dude, you're from last century. A lot of us are counting down the days till you no longer have any existence on this planet, my good sir. But until then, we'll continue to sort of, I don't know, let you be the way that you are, except that there comes a point where you can't be that way, because it's not appropriate. We're not in the 1900s, and it wasn't okay then, and it's not okay now, especially as there is a more educated and aware, and dare I say woke, young population that has common sense and doesn't very much appreciate all of the things that go on in the world, right? Including the fact that great grandpa Trump's going to get elected to be president again. I mean, yeah, seriously. I wonder, in 100 years, will Trump be praised as an Abraham Lincoln figure? I mean, is this where we're going in this country? Seriously? Holy potatoes. Now, I'm still waiting for Harriet Tubman to get on a $20 bill, right? Because the last time I checked, the dude that was on it is entirely responsible for more deaths than, the most prolific of serial taking away livers and all that stuff. You feel me? For real. And why aren't we going to talk about it? Again, I don't hate white people. For the record, my mom's white. I don't hate white people. What I hate are liars, deceivers, and people who use their own race to get one over on other races because of their own evil intentions. That's what I'm not okay with, right? And yeah, that includes a lot of historical figures that have made this country both the best and worst place to be as it concerns socialist ideologies, and how they can be incorporated with capitalistic ones, and how instead of spending hundreds of years making sure that certain governmental ideological principles, sometimes, I say it every time it happens, but sometimes, I am in fact just a brown person, don't pick on me, seriously. I mean, all the, racist people, what a simple way to think. And Abraham Lincoln, shame on you, dude. Seriously. Rest in peace. Yeah, that's for those of us that have the privilege of not having sold out our fellow human beings at the cost of some other group of human beings, just so that, we could keep the United States together. Man, put up the bootstraps, head on down south, free the slaves, make that your platform, position federal troops outside these places for a few decades until all the old racist people, rumble about in the distance in their wheelchairs. And that's when change takes place, right? Not when you remove federal troops from being stationed outside of a territory that you straight up just won. But yet, no, let's give the South, centuries of concessions to perpetuate and continue racist behavior in this country. Yeah, good old Abe Lincoln did a lot for this country. A whole lot of empty air talk. You feel me? Because the last slave wasn't freed until 1940s. So, like, yeah, the Civil War ended in 1864, but there were still slaves for almost 100 years after that. So, thanks but no thanks. Old President Abraham Lincoln, again, like, whatever, dude. Whatever. Seriously, whatever. You're not a champion. No one's celebrating you. And, yeah, like, why would we? Like, seriously, because you were a bad man and you did nothing for marginalized people, much less black people. So, again, white people, like, find a better hero. Find a white person, if there are any, dare I say, that have ever made a stand for other ethnic groups that aren't white. You feel me? Like, just show me one. Like, because I'm interested. I want to know, right? Like, I seriously, like, I want to know. Because clearly, Abraham Lincoln was not the dude. So, like, I'm not, I always thought the guy looked a little sketch anyway. You feel me? I mean, honestly, like, how do you learn so much about a person and know so little about them? This guy, Abraham Lincoln, he was a member of a brigade that killed Native Americans. He was a part of an army, of a militia group that sought out to unalive Native Americans. Again, why celebrate a mass murderer? I think that's a little psychotic. Just saying. The guy's on our penny and $5 bill, but yet, like, he's responsible for thousands of deaths. Yeah, like, dude, where I come from, you know what I mean? You bump into somebody out on the street, you get a fist to your mouth, and then you go to jail. You don't get, like, pictures of yourself on currency and celebrate it as a person of, like, high achievement, when in fact, like, dare I say, things that I can't say because I want these videos to become monetized, and I don't want to get too crazy with the foul language, although I don't think I've even said any. I just want to know the truth, and there are so many people out there who are so done. Like, what's more difficult, telling somebody the truth, or, like, lying to them their entire life and then letting them know when you feel it's a convenient time for them and, like, drop it all? Like, what? Like, what? That's, that's the avoidance of critical race theory in practice all the way. Yeah, let's just pretend like it never happened, guys. And by the way, you guys stay over there, we stay over here, but let's celebrate diversity and inclusivity. What? Again, like, I hope that you guys have a really good night, and I hope that you go out of your way to learn just a little bit more about how terrible of a person former United States President Abraham Lincoln was, because he was. He was. Fact over fact, nothing to put in his favor of being a classy and gentleman Republican. The guy was a racist, the guy unalived Native Americans, and the guy never intended to set slaves free. So, all of the things that we're taught about him are false. They're wrong. It's a lie. I don't want to be a part of that. So, I hope that you guys have a really good night. Thank you very much for watching my channel, and until next time, bye.